Published in 1848, the Communist Manifesto stands as one of the most influential political documents in modern history. Written by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, it presents a sweeping interpretation of history, a powerful critique of capitalism, and a call for revolutionary transformation. The work begins with the famous declaration that a spectre is haunting Europe, the spectre of communism, immediately framing communism as an idea that has already unsettled the political order of Europe. Marx and Engels argue that the history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles. Across ancient, feudal, and modern societies, human civilization has been structured around conflict between oppressor and oppressed. In ancient Rome, there were patricians and slaves. In the Middle Ages, lords and serfs. In the modern era, these antagonisms have simplified into two primary classes, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. The bourgeoisie emerged from the ruins of feudal society. Through exploration, colonization, industrial development, and expansion of trade, this class transformed economic production. The discovery of new markets, the development of manufacturing, and eventually the Industrial Revolution gave the bourgeoisie unprecedented economic and political power. Modern industry created a global market, reshaped communication, and centralized political authority. The bourgeoisie, according to Marx and Engels, played a historically revolutionary role by dismantling feudal hierarchies and establishing free trade and market competition. However, the very success of the bourgeoisie creates its own contradictions. Capitalism depends on wage labor, in which workers sell their labor power to survive. As machinery advances and division of labor increases, workers become reduced to mere appendages of machines. Their wages fall to subsistence levels, and they are exposed to the volatility of markets and economic crises. The system generates periodic crises of overproduction, where society produces more goods than can be profitably sold, leading to economic collapse despite widespread need. Marx and Engels argue that capitalism produces its own gravediggers, the proletariat. As industry grows, workers become more numerous, more concentrated in factories, and more aware of their collective condition. Initially fragmented and competitive, they begin forming unions and political movements. Class struggle intensifies. The proletariat, unlike previous oppressed classes, represents the immense majority and has the potential to abolish class distinctions entirely. The second section of the manifesto clarifies the relationship between communists and the broader working class movement. Communists do not form a separate party with distinct interests. Rather, they represent the most advanced and conscious segment of the proletariat. Their immediate aim is the formation of the proletariat into a class, the overthrow of bourgeois supremacy, and the conquest of political power. Central to communist theory is the abolition of bourgeois private property. Marx and Engels argue that private property under capitalism does not represent personal belongings, but capital property used to exploit labor. Communism does not seek to abolish personal possessions, but to eliminate the system by which one class derives profit from the labor of another. Capital, they contend, is a social product created by collective labor and should therefore become social property. The manifesto also addresses common objections. Critics claim communism would abolish individuality, family, religion, and nationality. Marx and Engels respond that bourgeois society has already undermined genuine individuality by subordinating individuals to capital. The bourgeois family is rooted in property relations and economic exploitation. National divisions, they argue, are diminishing under global capitalism, and the working class has no true country. The abolition of exploitation between classes would ultimately eliminate exploitation between nations. The authors outline transitional measures that a proletarian government might implement, including progressive taxation, abolition of inheritance, centralization of credit and communication, state ownership of key industries, free public education, and the combination of education with industrial production. These measures would not be final ends, but steps toward transforming the mode of production and dissolving class antagonisms. In the third section, Marx and Engels critique other forms of socialism. Feudal socialism, they argue, romanticizes the past and opposes capitalism not to liberate workers but to restore aristocratic privilege. Petty bourgeois socialism seeks to preserve small-scale property and resists industrial development, making it reactionary and nostalgic. German true socialism abstracts French socialist ideas into philosophical rhetoric, losing their revolutionary force. Conservative or bourgeois socialism attempts to reform capitalism superficially while preserving its core structure. Finally, critical utopian socialism, associated with thinkers like Saint-Simon, Fourier, and Owen, imagines ideal communities without grounding change in class struggle. The final section outlines the political positioning of communists in different countries. Communists support progressive and revolutionary movements, but always emphasize the centrality of the property question. They advocate international solidarity among workers, concluding with the famous rallying cry, "Working men of all countries unite." Ultimately, the Communist Manifesto presents capitalism as a historically necessary but transient stage. Its dynamism and productivity are acknowledged, yet its internal contradictions, exploitation, crises, alienation, render it unsustainable. The proletarian revolution would abolish private ownership of the means of production, eliminate class distinctions, and create a society in which the free development of each is the condition for the free development of all. The enduring power of the manifesto lies in its bold historical vision. It does not merely criticize capitalism, it situates it within a broader narrative of historical transformation driven by material conditions and class struggle. Whether embraced or contested, the ideas articulated by Marx and Engels have profoundly shaped political movements, revolutions, and debates about economic justice across the globe.